lot of the people that I work with, I end up incredibly close to, and they don't leave my life. So much of my desire for working is the relationships I form, and they're not discarded upon completion of something. They're actually the beginning of a lifetime. I spoke to him on the phone and then he just cast me. And then suddenly I was really intimidated because I'd seen Drugstore Cowboy in Australia in a little art house cinema in Darlinghurst, and I'd just gone, wow. And then I'd seen My Own Private Idaho, and so the idea of being able to do something like To Die For, that was just like, you're kidding.
Good evening from the WWEN Weather Center.
And I remember him being just utterly like laid back and cool. And Gus doesn't say a lot, but it was very familiar to me because I'd come from Australian independent filmmaking, and there's a vibe to that I'd grown up with. I started working at 14, so that indie filmmaking vibe is probably my most comfortable place to exist, and Gus totally represented that, and I was like, whew, I'm home. I remember thinking, who is this wild woman? We were very young, both of us. She was electric. Her brain, her imagination, her appetite for work and life and discovery and intimacy was right there from the minute I met her. She came to ATYP, which is an Australian theatre for young people, and she was a young budding filmmaker from film school, and I was a very young student at this weekend acting school, and that was sort of the collision of the two of us. From that point on, she had a massive impact on my formation, and still does. She has a property in New Zealand, and I would love to buy near her at some point. There's always this kind of commune feel to the way in which she works, where you somehow want to be in her life, not just in her storytelling. I remember the letters, the faxes. It was when faxes were still around. So we got faxes from Stanley. And then we arrived to go start, and it was so laid back. We're like, okay, let's get going. What are we gonna do, Stanley? The more we pushed for, let's go, let's get moving, the more Stanley would slow things down and just want to talk. And that was the beginning of a very, very, very long, deep, creative relationship and friendship. I went and saw his workshop of Strictly Ballroom, and we sort of crossed paths there, and then he reached out and said, will you do a photo shoot with us? We want to recreate all these looks, and that was my first working experience with him, which was so fun, and I was like, create me, change me, make me into what you see, and I sort of wanted to be a doll that they could play and move and form. So it was that was really fun. And then I was like hoping at some point he would want to work with me on film.
I believe you were expecting me.
He did. He sent me backstage. I was doing a play on Broadway, Blue Room, and he sent me in very Baz style in a box 24 long-stemmed red roses and said, will you be my settee? Kind of, it's like, woo, swoon. A lot of my beginnings start over phone calls. So Lars started on a phone call, and then Dogville, he sent me the sort of the treatment for it, his ideas for it, and I was like, I'm in. But I'd seen Breaking the Waves, and I just wanted to work with him. That was it. I wanted to work with Lars. And then I headed off to Trollhättan in Sweden. And I'd done The Hours, and then I went off and did that. And everyone was like, where are you going? What are you doing? And I was like, of course, I'm going to Sweden to work with Von Trier. I have done Moulin Rouge and the others, and then be there doing Dogville. And people are like, what? Who are you? With no sets, but, you know, very Brechtian. And I remember being on the set of Dogville and they held up a sign saying, you just got nominated for Moulin Rouge. I was doing a play in London, Photograph 51. She came and saw it, and then we went afterwards to Shiki's, which is a restaurant that's right next to the theatre that I was working in, and we sat and we just talked. And prior to that, we'd been circling another project, and then she said, I've got this script. Here it is. I'm going to give it to you. I'd love you to do it. And I was like, wow. And then Colin Farrell was cast in that, and Yorgos cast us both in Sacred Deer. So we have Beguiled and Sacred Deer, Colin and I, together, and we've shot them back to back. How crazy is that?
Crazy. I was going to ask about Yorgos. He was the last one on my
I see, I read
list
your
here,
mind.
You did.
Witchy. We just started talking, and suddenly there was another project that then he didn't do. And then he went, I'm going to send you this script, see what you think. I read it, I called him back and said, I'm in. But I knew that even before he sent it, I knew I would do it. So that's just how I am. There's certain people that I just go, yes, you want me to do that with you? I don't need to read anything. Just tell me send it when it's ready. I really believe in just that creative trust and offering up your heart and your what you have to give as an artist, as an actor, and going, I'm here, open, ready, and willing. First time I met her was at a party. Kind of a great way to meet someone. And we just connected, like, across a crowded room. She's so powerful. She's force. She's just got, but she's just deeply intuitive. So she kind of almost reads you from the minute she meets you, and she studies you and watches you and listens to you. She has this love of other women where she's so supportive. She approaches you with openness as a woman, going, okay, I want to put you in something where I get to really allow you your space and your ability to create, and then I will form around that. And I just love working with her. So I've done 2 things with her, and possibly we'll be doing a 3rd with her. So we sat down and we just literally bared our souls to each other within the first physical meeting, where we shared so many things about each other, about our lives, about our fantasies, about our secrets. I mean, within 2 hours, we had just bared our souls. That was the beginning of Babygirl. And what a beautiful way to start. We were sort of coming out of the COVID experience. And so we were all a bit sort of shell-shocked from that. And we were suddenly making a film, and we were rehearsing, and I just loved her detail and her precision, and she's so idiosyncratic. She was a dancer, so you have that discipline to her filmmaking, and she's very, very visual. I was just thrilled to be able to go, okay, Mimi, here. We've got you a budget. We've got you the ability to make the film that you see. I'm here. I'm willing. I'm able. Let's go. And that's part of my purpose, and part of my desire is to constantly be forging these paths for these women right now with what I have to give and what I have to offer. Bowing down.